Hi there, Claire Darnham, your wellbeing guide here with today's step from stress and anxiety to inner peace. Running a moment or so late this morning. Is anybody else finding it really difficult to get wound back up to do any kind of work or anything constructive? I certainly am actually finding it really tricky. So today I'm going to talk again about the fact that there's something significant happening on Friday. There is a new year beginning. It is a time when people look perhaps to change aspects of their life to create more happiness. I think that's something that people look towards when they're looking at the next year. What can I change, and what will the impact of that be on my life? And my own personal journey to try and find this elusive thing called happiness that I thought I was supposed to find, that I thought would show that I was successful, and I guess it was entangled with the idea of success, led me on a rapid journey up the career ladder in primary education, where I went from job to job pretty much, well, every 4 years. My only job I stayed in longer than 4 years was my first permanent job, which but I did have 2 babies during that time as well. So that I wasn't really in that job for the full 5 years because I had 2 maternity leaves. But every 4 years I moved job in primary education to a new job, to a new role, to a promotion every single time. And every single time I made that move to this success, I thought this was going to make me happy by making this next move, I found myself feeling pretty much the same, feeling very stressed, feeling very overwhelmed, feeling like I had too much, and feeling like I hadn't quite made it yet. Like there was still this urge to go on to the next and the next and the next. And eventually that led to me burning out, because in actual fact, when I arrived where I thought success lay, when I arrived at the very pinnacle of my career, which was the headship of a 2 elementary primary school, which, you know, in the UK is pretty big. I know they have them bigger down south than in Leeds, but it was, you know, I was there. I immediately engaged the services of a life coach to try and work out what I was going to do next, because I'd arrived in this place that I thought was what I wanted, that was the pinnacle of success for me. And I didn't feel any different. I didn't feel any better. I didn't feel any more successful. I didn't feel any more happy. Really, nothing had changed inside of me in terms of how I was experiencing my life. And I know I'm not the only one who's done that. I know I'm not the only one who is or has been continually trying to manipulate the outside world to make themselves okay. In the last year, the one that concludes tomorrow, there has been a sharp increase in mental illness issues. There has been, I would say, a marked decrease in people's general happiness. And that is because the world hasn't been how people think it needs to be for them to be okay. And the thing is, the world outside of us isn't ours to control. And so if we are continually trying to manipulate the outside world and move ourselves through life and make situations and people behave a particular way for us to be okay, well, first of all, that is exhausting. It's like playing that whack-a-mole game where the little heads keep bopping up and you have to keep hitting them with a hammer to bop them back down again. I think that, I don't know if the game still exists, but I'm sure people out there will remember that game. It's like playing that game. To maintain your happiness, you know, to get happiness, I have to keep bobbing all these things on the head. I have to keep hammering them down. I have to keep knocking them down in order to keep that nice flat surface of my happiness. And that is an exhausting game to be playing. Really, really exhausting. And the thing is, that's founded in an innocent misunderstanding of where happiness actually comes from, or whether or not we actually need it. This concept of happiness feels like something that isn't really something that a human being should consistently be. Do we need to be happy all the time? Is that what our human nature was meant to be? What if all feelings were okay? What if it's all okay? What if you can be sad and that's okay? And you can feel nervous and that can be okay? And you can have anxious feelings and that can be okay? And for me, that is a feeling of peace that comes from letting go of this need to grasp at happiness all the time. First of all, because it doesn't come from the outside circumstances, but second of all, because do we need it to be all there all the time? If you're really trying to be happy all the time, then you're either going to be caught in that trap of trying to manipulate your outside circumstances to create that, or you're going to be, I guess there's an area where people have got an idea that actually happiness is about me, it comes from me, and so I must fix me so that I can be happy all the time. I need to change my thinking about the world outside me. So the world outside me perhaps isn't creating my experience, but I am. But I need to change me to have more happy experiences. And that involves all those doing things that lots of us have done. I've done them all: meditation and gratitude and affirmations and all those things that we think are going to manipulate our brain, our mindset, and change that so that more of the time it won't matter so much what's going on outside of us because we'll be happy anyway. That again can feel like a lot of doing, and again feels like that whack-a-mole game, is that when a negative feeling bobs into your head, you must smash it down in some way, shape or form. You can't have that, and you can't have an unpleasant feeling, and you can't have discomfort, and you can't have sadness or anxiety or any of those things, because they're not okay. They're a sign that you still need fixing, and you still need to get rid of those. Whichever way you are looking at the world in that regard is exhausting. It's exhausting to think that you've either got to keep the outside world a certain way for you to be okay, or that you've got to keep you a certain way for you to be okay. I had a young lady client that started me a few weeks ago, and she called her anxious feelings angry butterflies. And I said to her, how much would your life change if you knew that angry butterflies were okay? And I watched 10 years of stuff just fall off her, in my perception, through my thinking, obviously. But I could see her just visibly, it's okay to feel. Turns out you don't need to be happy all the time. Turns out that's not really what human beings are supposed to be like. Even just taking that idea off your mind that you're supposed to be happy all the time, even just losing that brings so much freedom. Because you don't need to fix the outside world, and you don't need to fix you either. Because it's all okay. It's okay to feel not happy. And from that place, there comes a feeling of peace. It's okay to feel this and that and the other. And when you feel at peace with that, somehow you feel less of this, that and the other. You just feel more peace, because that's who you really are anyway. that's more true to who we really are. We are supposed to be these beings of peace, but at peace with what is. At peace with what is in the outside world, at peace with what is inside of us, going up and down and experiencing the outside, experiencing our thinking about the outside world and those feelings that come with it. But that's all okay. So I know that lots of people are making goals and plans and setting targets and things for next year with the sense that when they get to those things, they will be happier. They will feel more successful. They will feel more nice feelings, whatever they are that we're looking for. But you don't know that. You don't know what you're going to feel like when you get there. You just don't know. You know what you now would feel like you're there, but you're not going to be the same person in a year's time. So I encourage you to be present with how you are right now and what feels right next. And when you think about 2021 and what you want to look towards in that year, to bring it to an energy of intention, of flow, of looking in a general direction, rather than I need to get here to feel this feeling, because that has not so light energy about it. It's very heavy, to me anyway. So enjoy the last couple of days of this year. I'll be back tomorrow morning, but I will be having Friday off. Not that I'll be going to bed late or anything. I will have New Year's Day off, but we'll be all back to it on Monday, won't we, when the schools go back. So thank you so much for watching. I'm Claire Downer, and your wellbeing guide. This has been today's step from stress and anxiety to inner peace. Have a beautiful day. Thank you. Take care.